you for being here. I am Rising Phoenix AuroRa. I am known as a spiritual revolutionist, and I am the founder of Rising Phoenix Mystery School Wellness Center, which you see right behind me. I am also the founder of many different self-healing modalities like aura hypnosis, entity removal, raw Reiki, quantum galactic Akashic reading, how to channel, quantum alchemy channeling. Yes, and I offer services for you to come heal yourself and get answers and find your connection to your higher self. I offer readings, fast life regression, and raw Reiki sessions, and also counseling one-on-one sessions. Thank you. Come book a session with me. This is my intro, but get ready, you all. It's absolutely incredible video. Once more, these are tough videos to cover. Very, very tough. Probably some of my toughest videos I've covered, and you all know, if you've been watching, they've been pretty tough ones. Very strong content. So I want to say your viewer discretion is advised, as there will be strong content, especially talking about the sex exploitation and trafficking of humans of all races and children. Yes. So this is part 2 to our video previous. This most likely will be a 3-part series, but we're going to get started. Do write your questions there in chat now, live questions, and then we'll ensure to get to all of them as best as possible today. Thank you for being here. As always, I want to say, since it is very strong content, that haters and trolls, if you know you're a racist and of any kind of race, you know, whether you're white, black, whatever color you are, know that I don't consent to you. Keep your entities to yourself. They'll be yours to transmute. I'm here to bring awareness to the collective, to humanity, so that they can stop being played into these parasitic and harmful inverted games against one another, being pinned against one another. And you know the saying that together we rise, divided we fall. And that's what this game is all about. The Matrix game, the simulation game. This is its #1 archon, artificial intelligence rule. It goes into planets and people's nations and countries, and it separates the people. And this is one of the oldest ways, besides religion, that it has separated the people. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being strong in being here. You want to watch this video all the way. And if you haven't watched part 1, do go back and watch part 1, because part 2 is continuing what we already mentioned. With every video, we are going to be mentioning new content that we are always going to be delivering in each video, new content. Okay. All right. So go to my website. So a little bit of infomercials now. Go to my website to find out more of what I offer. I do host retreats. My first retreat here in the Chicago retreat is going to be May 1st, 11 here in Chicago. Come get aura hypnosis and raw Reiki certified. This teaches you how to go into the quantum realm, your molecular level, down to the atoms, the cells, and all that you are, to heal what is inverted, what is parasitic within you, so that you can rise and oscillate into a higher density, higher vibration of you, by removing what's artificial and entity removal, whatever is dark, attachments, past life trauma, or current life trauma. So learn how to do this for yourself and your family, your loved ones, here in Chicago, May 11th. I am here hosting these retreats in May and also September. So come join. It's going to be the most incredible retreat you will ever attend. I've been hosting many retreats for many years. I think about 7 years. I have over 20 retreats I've hosted all over the world, and love to meet you and come take your divinity back in your power and walk your most organic timelines. Lastly, here is I am the author to Galactic, Soul History of the Universe, which are these 2 books here, which you can find under Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all these books, and then The Lost Cities of Tartaria as well. Digital, hardcover, soft cover. Go check them out, you all. This tells you the story of what I began this understanding of how the enslavement of humankind. So that's what these videos are about, the different types of enslavements, not the modern day enslavement, but also the enslavement of your minds. I mean, that's really what the majority of our videos have been about, and our content and always through my newsletter that you can find under my website to sign up for, and risingphoenixaurora.com again. Also aurapractitioners.com for more information about our courses, and if you want to find aura, hypnosis, and raw Reiki practitioners and Akashic readers all over the world, you can find them there under aurapractitioners.com. But yeah, that is it. Come sign up, you all. Otherwise, if you don't come in person, I am hosting that course online and in person, so it'll be both. And so you can again sign up May 11th and in September again to get certified. Otherwise, I have courses, all sorts of courses, you all. You heard me reference many courses like Archangel Raphael course, Buddha course, Mother Mary course. They're so sacred. We are currently hosting Egyptian Unveiling the Mystics of Egypt, and we're on part 16. That's how deep Egypt is. You can find all the courses if you missed them under my website. Otherwise, join us live to get a super discount, and you get all these extra benefits to that, which you're going to hear me reference is the extra sensitive content video where I am currently channeling and unveiling the truth of World War II and channeling Adolf Hitler and his daughter, and that the truth of what that was, which not only am I channeling, but I have all the data as well. So much data covering that. I just posted a preview on that. Okay, so this is my video. This is my I am taking a bit of a, well, I wouldn't call it a break, but I won't be back live on a Friday live again until February 27, 227. During that time though, I really need to get tons of aura, hypnosis, past life regression sessions out. So we do have lots, hundreds of them, playlists you can find back in YouTube and in Odyssey. And I currently have, I'm going to have really important aura sessions coming out all in February for about 3 weeks. So keep an eye on those. And I have a series, a very important series where we need to start working on healing and deveiling what happened to Asia. And yeah, so it's an Asia series, Japan, China, Mongolia, you name it, all of Asia covered there. So you don't want to miss that. Come assist us to start healing and transmuting those averted Earth history timelines. So keep an eye on that in February. Otherwise, I'll see you back live February 27, where I'll be hosting 2 videos then. Check out my calendars, go to my social media so you can check out all the information that I'm speaking about so you are current with our content. Thank you for being here. I love you, honor you, respect you. It is 113. Here we go. Again, don't even bother if you're a hater. I'm too sovereign. What's the point? It'll be yours to transmute. Here we go, you all. Yeah, so much to cover. We covered in the first book, the first book we covered, right? Lots of images and written content of the book that I found, and show you an image here, right? Fighting the war on traffic, fighting the traffic in young girls, or war on the white slave trade, the greatest crime in world's history. So we have 2 books. We covered the first book, what I was able to find online. I don't have the full book, but for the second book, we do have the full book. I have it both in written and paper, and then I have here the digital copy. Gina, go ahead and write it there. The link, add the link there that people can sign up to there, okay? And here's the cover for it, which you see there in the thumbnails. Start writing your questions again. Here we are. So setting a very clear intention that the reason why we are covering this series currently now, and we'll go back to channeling Yeshua and his missing 133 years after that, is because the enslavement of humanity needed to come up, and the ways that they are being used against each other to harm one another. This needs to derail the curses, the black magic sorcery that's really keeping these knotted curses in the land and in the people, carrying it in their DNA, in their past life trauma, in their current life trauma from their ancestors, and the stories that they've been indoctrinated and told about the false narrative of humanity, and the ways that, for example, the enslavement. The biggest one here in America, we talked about in part 1, is the blacks and how supposedly they were enslaved, and we talked about all that was unveiled then. But when we go back in history, it's been all the races. So our hopes is to awaken all races to stop targeting and harming each other, to become people with feelings, with emotions, with understanding that his is all a false narrative, a new world agenda, and indoctrination to your soul. When you align to harming others because of their color or their skin, you yourself have become a slave. You have enslaved yourself to a false agenda. You have aligned yourself to harm to others. This is what, whatever religion you are, the devil, the archon, the artificial intelligence, this is what it wants you to do. Not only that, is that you are a parent, perhaps. You're a parent in whatever race you are, to your children. What kind of example are you raising your children to hate on others, to be racist and prejudiced against others? It's not something that is absolutely given by God, by source, by love. This is not the way God created us. It created us to commune among each other, yet just like Yeshua, the true Jesus Yeshua, taught us to love one another and not to use his name in vanity and in hatred and murder and oppression. So much to talk about today, and that's my opening introduction for you today. I'm here to help you shift into a higher state of being, activating your heart so you can see how you've been used against one another. And if you really want to truly heal yourself, you begin by healing your ancestors who are through past life regression. You are just incarnating in cycles, just like everyone on earth who's been here era after era, no matter whether you were Chinese, Asian, Hawaiian, Mongolian, indigenous, Native American, Mexican, whatever you were, we come back in cycles. And every time we're given the opportunity to break these cycles so that we could ascend out, the true ascension that, you might read in different religions that are telling you something opposite. We are here to shift that out today, okay? Yes, we are. So incredible to be here with you all. Absolutely. All right, so here we go. Going into this now. There's many enslavements. There's enslavement of the mind, enslavement of religion, enslavement of oppressing and prejudice against one another, judging in a hateful way. This person's better, I'm better than you did this to me, your ancestors did this to me, why are you still holding on to that grudge? If you actually do your research, you do realize that it is a dark governments, dark politicians, dark dictatorships, men controlled by dark entities, by dark aliens, that are the ones that are telling you this false information, that are pinning the people against each other. Okay? So again, it is not something that has been given to you organically through your soul. It is something that is used against the warfare against humanity and the people. And the ultimate target is against the children. Yeah, so the genocide against humankind and the children. Here we go. All right. Okay, so going through, and the first things that I want to cover is I do want to, going into this topic, which I was aware of, but not to this extent, of the racism that is currently happening right now in South Africa. Both the blacks against the whites, and then the whites against the blacks. And now I realize that truly, that the series that we're speaking about currently, bringing this knowledge to light, is actually to assist the Africans or South Africans that are really harming each other and violating each other. Okay, so let me go into that to help you understand what does that mean. Okay, so let's see what is, let me load here what I want to go into. So we're going to be going into the book, and before we go into that book that I already showed you, we've want to go into this here, which is dated even before the black slavery. And this is again of all cultures, Persian, Middle Eastern, Indian, all cultures were trafficking like this. But this is something for you to know, is that the white slaves of Africa, even before there was black slaves, and also keep in mind that in order for the slaves to be sold off, the black people themselves who had the black leaderships there would have to be selling out their people. Same for if there were white slaves, the white government and leadership would be selling their own white slaves. So here is this article here talking about some history that is true. Here is there is awareness of the black slave trade in Africa, but not many know that there was also an active white slave trade on the continent between 1600s and 1800s. And here they were called white gold. Okay. During this time, over 1.25 million British and European citizens were captured by North African slave traders and taken in chains in the great slave markets of North Africa. Prodded and examined like livestock, the white slaves were sold to the highest bidder. White men, women, and children were regarded as white gold by ruling classes of North Africa's Barbary states, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya, and fetched a handsome bounty, according to North African pirates known as the Barbary corsairs, ruthlessly hunted them from their homes and sold them as slaves. Compounding the captives' misery was religion. The rulers of North Africa were part of the expansive Islamic Ottoman Empire that had declared war on Christian world. And again, back to Islam and the Muslim regime, and back to their Bible, which I will not say their name, that is the devil's Bible, that tells you that you could beat your wife and rape a 6-7-year-old little girl. All right, so that I wanted to show you some history there. Let's keep going here. Let me see what questions and comments you guys have so far. Okay. Got that one. Okay. So someone says, so basically all US holidays are sex slavery curses. We began to talk about that last time. Is yeah, they do use holidays invertedly, and they do tend to have satanic rituals during these holidays and are killing and raping children during these holidays as their satanic rituals. And then they're claiming that they're, worshiping Lucifer, which is false. Angels are positive beings. Basically, what they're really worshiping is the real devil, the Archon AI. Okay, so yeah, so that's what these holidays do power up. So ways to not give way, just transmute it, alchemize it. If you're celebrating Valentine's Day, celebrate love for real, like your loved ones. If you're celebrating Christmas and you want to just have some fun with your children, celebrate it in your own way, not to the soul binding, curse binding holidays. Easter and coming up, all of that. Don't consent to that stuff, okay? Someone's also asking are there also native white people in Africa like in Boer in South Africa, they are said to be Dutch descent. And the Boer and Germans, yeah, they would have been native. So natives are not just, you know, my color and blacks. Natives are also white. They would have been some white, absolutely. Like you said, these Boer, Dutch, you know, I know like in I think in the Netherlands, or they're still in different places located where there is indigenous white people. Okay. And the Boer and the Germans in Namibia, or was there just more free migration before the last recess? So yeah, there were whites, is what I'm telling you, indigenous too, that were more like, say, nomads, just like every other a color race. Yeah. Next question is, what are the best ways to educate our children about these dangers with fear mongering, or making them distrustful for all adults without fear mongering? Teaching your children to feel things out, sense them with their hearts versus their minds and what they're being told is number one to that. And then teaching them to never be prejudiced against one another, and to know that every soul is equal. Every soul has been created from God, and we're to treat one another and each other, and to treat others like you would want to be treated. If you didn't want to be treated like that, then you wouldn't want another to treat another like that. Being cautious though, because, you know, as you raise these warriors that stand up for others, they also need to be cautious in what situations they put themselves into, you know, but definitely standing up in whatever ways safely they can for people being bullied or harmed in any way, or getting help, you know, getting an adult that actually will help. You know, you start with the ways that you can be, and that's how you teach your children how they can be. Eradicate, nullifying Black Lives Matter, the separation of especially the whites and the black, which is horrendous. The hatred and all the past wars that have been planned by dark aliens and this New World agenda. Okay, no longer taking our power back to not be enslaved within this hive mind, enslavement mind, so that these systems can fall apart and no longer be fed. Teaching your children about the true history of Earth. You know, they're being taught history of World War I, World War II, whatever wars. Teach them about Tartaria. Teach them the truth about these wars and these men and women who stood up against the control and the communism, which we'll be going into today. Yeah, so then also, right now I have the Adolf Hitler channeling that I'm talking about, you all. I can tell you that so far, every single article and speech that I've heard him speak that has been translated, I have not heard him once say anything to harm a different race or Jewish. He does mention Jewish people, because just like right now, when where you're seeing, and that goes into the Adolf Hitler channeling that you want to go under the extra sensitive series under my website, risingphoenixaura.com and aurapractitioners.com. Go check that out, you all. It's so big, because it's where the darkest roots of this racism starts, because they said that he was racist. And when you read his articles, he will literally written word per word. And then I had German people also translate them or double check that they are correct, the translations, and they confirm them all. He says in one of his speeches, as we go in depth in that channeling, right? But he says that all other nations, he says, take in immigrants and make them into slaves. And he says, the slaves that come to us, he says, we don't do that to them. Instead, we teach them to become citizens, positive, good citizens of Germany, instead of making them into slaves. So a man that is speaking about this, how could he have been enslaving and killing people? So there's such detail, so much data, so much information that we have covering there, down to his maps, our unarchived maps that we found. It's deep, you all, so deep. And so he does again speak about the Jewish people, but he's speaking about the Zionists, the Khazarian Jews that are pretend Jews, just like you all are talking about them and why they're in leadership positions. He's talking about it then. So they use that against him and say that he's a racist and killed the Jews because he's talking about the worry and the concern. So to say that, that means that every single TikToker that's talking about why are the Jews leaders, and then, but they're not really Jews, again, Khazarian Jews is from Israel, they're hiding in Israel, right? Is to say that every single one of this TikToker or YouTuber who's talking about this truth is also a racist. No, what these people are talking about, what we're talking about is these false leaders that are pretending to be really Jewish when they're not. And that's what he was talking about then. You understand? So tell me if you find an article where he is directly saying to kill the Jews, and that they have camps, because I haven't been able to find one. Okay? Tell me if you find it, and then I'm going to confirm it, and I'm going to confirm it with my German-speaking people that it is true what you find. Email it to me, that where he is directly saying that. Okay? So this is big that I'm speaking about this specifically, because again, everything goes back to don't be a Hitler, don't be a Nazi. He killed off all these people because they were a specific race, right? They were a specific Jewish descendant. Palestinians were happening then, and instead they were actually saving them. I'm not going to go into that because it's a long story. All right, but again, I know it's strong content. Allow yourself to be indoctrinated and removed from the false history that these dictators themselves wrote for you about all these leaders that you know have been killed off, like JF Kennedy, Gaddafi, all, Mandela, these beings that were standing up for humanity. Okay. All right. So then that marks that. So let's continue that communication there. Yeah. So that just adds to more of what you're talking about, what to teach children. Just feel it out, though, whatever feels right for you and whatever your child's ready to hear too, because in a world where you've been told that this leader was bad and this one you need to follow and worship and whatever, it's hard for them. You'll know exactly what to teach them because the rest of their school, the teachers are teaching the false agenda, and so would all their, not colleagues, but students, their other classmates would be also thinking this. So it would be very hard for them to grow up in a world like that. So teach them to say only what is wise and what feels right, even if they know the truth, because they also need to stay protected in a world that could really target and bully them when they know the truth, as we know. All right, so you'll know what to say. All right, so let me read your comments and we're going to continue on with the data that I have for you guys in the books. Here we go. Someone said last year Trump was exposing South African president for committing genocide. Let me show you the videos on that. What's happening in South Africa for committing genocide against the white farmers. He was showing a video during the meeting, and South African president didn't see it coming. Yep. And there's like the South African, it's kind of gross. So like he's got like a Middle Eastern, I don't know who it was, but it's like a man, he's like hugging him from behind like this. Like, why would another guy be hugging another guy like this from behind? That means that yeah, they're definitely having what kind of sex through what it's from behind. So yeah, okay, again, viewer discretion's advice. And let me show you, since you brought it up, exactly. You guys are in tune. You're connected to your higher self. You all know I have the best viewers. I can say that I have the best viewers on earth. I think I do. Thank you to all the over over 200 live viewers, but my numbers don't read correctly, as you know. But that were viewing last time. Thank you. Okay, so that we're streaming. Okay, let me see. So let me show you the videos here that I have for you all. It is dark, you all. It's so dark. So this is what's happening in South Africa, in case you don't know. And this is what Trump was talking about. So we'll let that load, but basically anti-white racism in South Africa. Look at how big of a crowd this is. Here is the leader calling for the murder of white farmers in public, yet the white stay silent on this. The left ignores the mass genocide and racial violence being committed against white people. Okay, it's not gonna load. Come on, gotta load. Clearing, calling on the angels to clear that. It's not loading. It was working. Let me reload this page, you all. 1 minute. Okay. So here are several videos that I'm going to show. And here is this video again. So they're chanting to kill the white people, white farmers. Kill the Boer, the farmer. Kill the Boer, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa. Brr, pa, pa. This is, oh, it's so hard to watch. Sending love to South Africa. Here are some of the white African refugees fleeing genocide have arrived in America. Historically, over 95% of farm attacks and murders in South Africa overwhelmingly target whites, with a murder of 150 per 100,000 compared to a global rate of 5.6. Families and children, look at them. They just look like they have so much trauma in their eyes. So much trauma. Okay, here. Young white boy is trying to pick up the garbage, and you got all these black adults tossing it out. His friend's telling him, "Hey, you gotta stop." What a beautiful, kind heart you are. This kind of like really makes me emotional to see such a kind heart being broken, but not, because he's strong, still picking it up, right? But it's not just the blacks, you all. There's also some whites there and happening as well. But here's a parade. Look at their children. They're teaching them. They're carrying around a white head. Okay, to kill them, kill the white. And again, you all, this is powering up all of that. So here is a white family who fled from trying to flee to the police station because they're being beat by black people. Okay, but then here is their racist white men in South Africa. It says that this is supposed to be a whites only pool. What? This stuff is existing in the now, and then they're going after these 2 teenage black children. See, it seems like it seems to be more with the blacks against the white, but there's still also some whites partaking in this too. Okay, again, here's one of the white farmers going against one of the blacks. So I'm going to show you both sides, you all. I don't agree or align to any of this in any form, and I definitely do not agree with these
people. When you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not.
I'm not gonna listen to this guy, but you heard him. Hurt a white man. Children and their pets too. Don't forget that, he says. Disgusting. All right. So let's just think about this for a minute. For humankind, South African, and then as we know, these are some of the migrants that they were sending. A lot of these could be clones made during the Biden administration, when a lot of this disgusting things were happening, where they were dropping off migrants, thousands and millions in different locations, which are clones. You want to watch that video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they made clones from people's COVID swabs, your DNA, your saliva, and they dropped them off. But before that, they MK Ultra them. You don't know what an MK Ultra is? Those are the government programs that once they grow the clones, they put them on a programming system that mind controls them and tells them what to do and who to hate and to rape, so on. Looking at humanity and the way that we were when we were in the COVID vaccine agenda, people being forced to take the vaccine, thank goodness that we were able to reach thousands of people, even though my numbers don't read it. I want to thank Laura Eisenhower, Dwight D. Eisenhower's great granddaughter, for that, because we have a show, Cosmic Mother Rising Show, from so many episodes covering this, to wake up humanity. And because truly what we saw there was an MK Ultra program. What do you think was happening to the minds of humanity when they were telling you that if you didn't get this jab, this heavily coated vaccine with metals and AI and nano and all sorts of aluminum and whatever was in it, if you didn't get it and inject it into your DNA, into your cells, down to your mitochondria that it would go into, that you would lose your jobs and would not be able to go out of your house, and you could potentially lose your children, and all this stuff that I covered then you all for years, right there on the front line covering these things. It was an MK Ultra. Humanity literally went through an MK Ultra to see this is all their inverted tests that we don't consent to. That's what it was. What of the children and what of the adults that went through this, especially the children that were masked and crying in daycares and preschools and schools, told to stand away from each other 6 feet apart? It was an MK Ultra. We are healing, and we need to keep waking up from this enslavery, mind enslavery of the MK Ultra. We need to save the children, and the way we do that is to communicate to them. We have to keep communicating to them what is positive, what is correct. What is the morally way to be with one another as humankind, to love and respect and honor each other's souls. So remember that was the MK Ultra, and we must wake up and de-shed and deprogram that indoctrination to humanity, because this is what we're seeing. This is what comes after. What comes after the MK Ultra and the super soldiers that they try to make into their false agenda. This is what happens. A whole crowd of all these people were jabbed, or they're migrant clones who are cheering on to kill the white men. They would have. How could they be jumping up and down and celebrating killing another person and harming another person? This is not normal, you all, as you know. I mean, I think that you're not a bot listening to me, and that you understand how to love one another, right? So I know you're here because of that. So know that that's what you're seeing, and that's why you can't understand it and can't wrap your mind around it. Like, how could this be? We are currently in the eradication and the transmutation of this MK Ultra. Can we do it? Yes, we can. But those of us who have not been mind controlled by this jab, or those of you who have chosen to heal yourself from it, which Again, aura hypnosis heals you from this. People have healed themselves from this vaccine. You can self-heal, but you got to go into the molecular level of this, down to the cells of who you are to heal it quantumly. A quantum physics, which is what we teach. So, yeah. Okay, you understand? All right, let's see what else you all. Questions, comments? Tough video, you all. Thank you for being here, for being strong enough and listening to it all the way to the end. I appreciate you and I love you. Let's see. Someone said South Africa has Tartarian buildings. This evidence South Africa is likely Tartarian historically. Yeah, so go watch World Erased Part 1 and Part 2, where I talk about what happened to Africa. It wasn't desert like it is now. There was a war and a target, which then goes back to the Atlantean Wars, and then also part of what was going on with Mongolia during the time of China and Mongolia, which we'll continue to be covering. These wars are those time spaces that you don't know about, that you might know briefly about, but yeah. Okay, and yeah, thank you. So that was happening then. So we're the white slaves, Tartaria, we're the white slaves, Tartarian, as part of the New World Order reset, assist, and social amnesia. Yes, all these wars. It goes farther, of course, than World War One. There is there was a black community that was pretty much wiped out, but most of them went into the inner earth, which we cover in World War Erased Part 1 and Part 2. We're going to be adding all the links where you guys could go watch that. Hours of content. Detailed we are with our delivery of information. All right, someone said, most of the whites in South Africa are farmers who are attacked. It is also to attack the guardians of the land. The truth is that every land had both, you all. It didn't just have blacks in one land. It had whites and blacks and browns and reds and blues and purples. So, I mean, for the most though, each land had like indigenous people that were caretakers of the land, absolutely. But I mean, we're a mixture. Every world has, each world, your world in Asia, Africa, Europe had whites, blacks, all colors, and our world had blacks, whites, and that's covered through the Antarctica Tartaria series there. And Queen Khalifa Part 1 and Part 2 talks about it too. Yeah, okay. I'll reference you to videos again where we've covered this if you want more data on everything I'll be mentioning. Yeah, South Africa is also known for the diamonds. It's the push for the conflict between black and white, also done to take more of the diamonds and the crystals from Earth. The crystal diamond is Divine Mother's diamond of creation. It is the toughest crystal because it is Mother's crystal. And yeah, so it's attack to Mother when they attack. And the truth is actually diamonds are very common. They just put a high price on them. They're very much, I could easily be found. I have books on that, which we're not going into, on diamonds and their consistency. Yeah. And we'll eventually get to them, book after book or channeled after channeling, you all. Okay, thank you for your comments, important ones, questions and comments. There, let me finish reading these comments and then I'm going to continue on here. See. The British set up lots of concentration camps in South Africa against the Boer before the war worlds. Lots of people believe concentration camps just appear in Germany. Yeah, they were. It's a recurring inverted thing that dictator compromise leaders do. So you can't just like focus on this one time. It's a thing that's been happening human against human. Someone said, oh wow, I've only known about the concentration camps in Uganda by the British where they did vaccination experiments on people in the early 1900s. Exactly, thank you, more data. Yes, they set up those concentration camps during the Anglo-Boer War of 1899-1902. Thank you for your data. Someone said, oh, and around the same time when they did the ones in Uganda, thank you for sharing. Exactly. Next one is comment, slavery is still very much alive in North Africa. Libya is very well known for this. They see themselves as Arabs in Africa. Yep. They lure Africans from other countries there for work. They say they'll work like nannies, for example, but they enslave them. Till this day, you hear a lot of stories like this. Other African countries are also warned. Thank you. Thank you. Share your data. I'll share it here. There are also similar accounts about Saudi Arabia and the Emirates with people from Southeast Asia that come for maids but find themselves unable to leave. Same in Lebanon. Yes, yes, that's what's happening. Wow. And Nelson Mandela did so much to reconcile both whites and blacks and the Indians in South Africa. Exactly. Exactly. Even Gaddafi was trying to heal these relationships. What do you think is happening here too in America? You know, if you are, they're doing the same thing that they did to Germany after the Hitler was, you know, pushed out of his leadership there, is they're doing that here. They're trying to do that here. In London, how many migrant Middle Eastern Islamic men are there? What do you think? Why do you think that they're putting so many there? What they're trying to do, I'm telling you right now, with the British and London area, is that they're trying to do what they did to Iran to you. Listen, don't allow this. That's what they're trying to do to you. They're putting in the Muslim Islamic regime to take over and to change you, to change your English talking, to change you to Islamic, to what they did to Iran. You know what I'm talking about. I have articles about this. Check them out. Okay. I've been covering this for years. So don't allow this in London, in Britain, in the UK. Don't allow this. Stand up. Keep standing up. Rise. It's only a few of them against millions of you. Think about it. You know what to do. The issue, though, is that they're still allowing them in, these Islamic men who are trained MK Ultra to rape. So sending you love. How do you come out of this? Is that the men of the UK need to rise. The islands of the UK need to rise. The men need to step into their power and protect the females and the males, and the females to protect their children. Did you know that as I was reading one of Hitler's speeches, he said that the most important role in humanity and in Germany was the woman. Not just any woman, he said the mothers. He says the mothers, because the mothers is where you see how a community, a government or a country is. How have the mothers raised their children and nursed them and taken care of them? That is our role as mothers who carry the wombs to protect our children. This is what he said. He said, yes, it's nice to see them as lawyers and so on. But really where it's at is the mothers, because he says that's how you save a country. You save them. The mothers save us. The mothers save them. Because that's how you know if you raised a good child, a child with good moralities and love and, you know, honor to one another, to each other, to not harm each other. That's his real speech, one of his speeches, you all. Again, go to the Extra Sensitive series to find out more about that. Okay? So that is what we need to look at right now, is the men need to stop allowing themselves to be lustful and be separated from the woman And the women need to allow the men to be back in their lives, because they also are going through a programming where they're like, I don't need a man, I can do this on my own. Absolutely, I encourage you to be individual and strong, but the children need both. We need to stop allowing for the separation of the mothers and the fathers. The children need both. They need their parents there. There's so much that we could go on this. Slave type mentality. So yeah, good comments, you all. Let's keep going here. Okay. Next one is, there are also similar accounts about Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. I think I said that. Okay. Well, yeah, we said that. Hold on. Okay, this stems from our ancestors' wars, colonization, and apartheid in South Africa. The new generations are now fighting each other. There is no peace till now. It's sad. Yes. Let this video, share this video, these 2 videos as far and wide as we can. This series, you all. Share it, like it right now, subscribe. I do this for love and for the saving the children. That's why I do this, and this is why I will always do this, for love and saving children. Let's all continue this way. South African flag was designed with a Y shape with the intention to represent the convergence of people from different backgrounds. Is that positive? Are you saying that was positive or negative? So then, yeah, thank you. Let's keep going. Those are all your questions and comments so far. And let's keep reading here, and let me see what other data I wanted to show you. Went through that, yeah. Later on, I'll talk about Asia at the end, so stay tuned for Asia and Tartaria there. Let me see, did I cover this one? Yeah, yeah, I covered that. All right. So now that we've covered much of what's going on in this now time modern slavery, let's continue on with the book, okay? Which is an incredible book. Now, are we going to align to everything? I mean, we can't, just because it is a man, but he's a beautiful man that was limited to what he was being, what he knew then. But for the most we will, I mean, because this is talking about saving children. What's up? So beautiful. Save the children. Okay, so we've covered again this one. Now we're going into this one here. All right, so we've gone through these pages already. So I'm going to fast forward to the pages, which this is him. This is one of the men's. So this is Edwin W. Sims, which, as we learned who he was. And then there is Ernest A. Bell, who's the author, okay? But there are several men and women who are part of this positive that is happening then, okay? So we read the preface. Now we're going to go into the introduction. Yeah, because the preface was read there. Let me make sure we did read this one, this preface, because I know we read this preface. Let me see, is it the same preface? Looks like it should be the same preface. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. All right, so we won't read that again. So we're going to go into an introduction by Edwin W. Sims, United States District Attorney, Chicago, of course, where I found the book somewhere near Chicago. So I am firmly convinced that when the people of this nation understand fully appreciate the unspeakable villainy of the white slave traffic, they will rise in their might and put a stop to it. The growth of this trade in white women, as it has been officially designated by Paris Conference, was so insidious that it reached the proportions of an international problem almost before the people of the civilized nations of the world learned of its existence. The traffic increased rapidly, owing largely to the fact that it was tremendously profitable to those depraved mortals who indulge in it, and because the people generally until very recently, oh, I think we read this, but yes, so but I'll finish that. So the people generally until very recently were ignorant of the fact that it was becoming so extensive. All right, so let me go into up to where did we read? I think it might be repeated from the other book. So let me see, scroll through this. Yeah, so we talked about this, how people didn't believe in the different areas where they're talking about it. Yeah, we read this. One word more. I hope soon to see the time when the laws of the land will as carefully protect the daughters of the United States from the destroying hand of the white slave trader as the international treaty agreements now protect the girls who is brought in from foreign shores. Oh, that is beautiful. So then they were passing treaties and acts then that we began to speak about last time, right? All right. Make sure we did cover this here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we did. Okay, next page. And then we did cover this image already last time. And then here we are. So, war on the white slave trade. History of the white slave trade. Here, I believe we covered this, this man is trying to seduce this young lady. By the white slave trade is meant commerce in white women and girls for wicked purposes. Most of its history cannot be written for two reasons: that these crimes are kept secret as far as possible, and that they are so revolting that their details cannot be published and ought not to be read anywhere outside of the bottomless pit. They're just that nasty. Crimes against humanhood are as old as sin. You hear that? From the day that the serpent beguiled Eve by its craftiness until now. Well, they know the Bible by then, but we'll skip that. So also Babylon. We know that there were some dark things happening in Babylon. Also with some of the dark Anunnaki, but we know that we can't label all people of that time as dark Anunnaki. And we do know that goddess Ishtar, and when she was, say, reigning, she brought it back to positivity. But besides that, Babylon seems to be pretty dark because the A.I. Archon, as you know, the fall of Atlantis, the Mayan Atlantis series, to find out more about that, Babylon was going through this AI virus then too, just like the rest of your world began it with the Merlin artificial intelligence there, the fall of Atlantis. Okay, so as we go into this, just be heart discerning of that. So in ancient Babylon, again, Ishtar was positive. She was a divine mother essence. So in ancient Babylon, the dishonoring of girlhood was a part of the temple service, as it is to this day in many temples of India. What is that? What is that, Gina? Write it at the top of the doc. What is the dishonoring of girlhood in temple service in India? What are they saying? In the opinion of the German historical scholar Dr. A.U.R.A, the temples of India probably derived the hideous custom from Babylon, which the book of Revelation calls the mother of the harlots. I'll see what we find out about that as soon as I finish this, and of the abominations of the earth. No wonder that Babylon was denounced by prophets and apostles, or that their crimes of slavery, cruelty, dishonesty, debauchery brought perpetual ruin from the wicked city and nation. Fallen is Babylon. Up the valley of Euphrates from Babylon and westward among the Canaanites and Phoenicians, the horrible aliens of religion and lust extended until it reached Asia Minor and Greece. Let me see if we found out the answer to that, or I'll keep reading. So it's going through a bit of each history and back to the slavery there. Okay, important, very important. So let's see what's there. I don't see that question answered yet. So text me when you have the question marked written there in the doc, Gina. I'll keep an eye on that. Oh, it is written. Okay, there it is. Okay, so it is a Devadasi system. The Devadasi system in India refers to the practice where young girls are dedicated to a deity or temple, often from a young age. What? Yeah, from a young age to perform rituals and serve as servants of God. If you're Indian and you know about this, tell us more about this. This practice, which dates back to the 6th century, has evolved into a system of sexual exploitation where girls are expected to serve the temple and its patrons, leading to a life of sexual slavery and prostitute. That's what I thought it was, but despite being outlawed in 1988, the Devadasi system persists in some regions, with many girls still facing exploitation and lack of rights. Don't consent to that. All right, thank you for the clarification on that. All right, so now we know what that is, what he's talking about, that India took these from Babylon and when they were doing these things. Okay. Greece. At Corinth, a great commercial city and seaport, business shrewdness was linked with sensuality and profanation, and a great temple of Venus and built. So this is really talking more about when the Romans moved into Greece, but probably also Greece, like after the Greek gods and goddesses there. So when the Greek and gods had to move away into the mountains and had to go into the lands and the mountains to save their souls, because deals with the sleeping giants, right? That we cover in Tartaria, Antarctica, Tartaria series, all these beings, because they weren't a vibratory mesh to Earth anymore, because the people started turning against each other and, creating all these atrocities to one another, so they couldn't be a vibratory mesh to the 3D, and they needed to go into the Earth, which is the 5D and higher crystalline blueprint to save themselves, to be here for us when they return. And they are back here. They're here. You can see them with your third eye walking among us. There's convergence of the gods, I think is the name of it, A.U.R.A session, but we'll add that there for you to watch. And that happened last year during the last eclipse, I think in September. Last year, 2025. They're walking among us. Again, you see them in your third eye. So, I mean, we are the gods and goddesses. We carry their essences in us. We have all these different fractals of past lives that we have. We're gods and goddesses. So some of the things that they did once that they were able to conquer and the gods and gods left Greece and they couldn't be there, is that they started making, according to this, the Greek temple of Venus, they started violating this temple, where 1,000 priestesses were required to lead a life of religious infamy. Guys, we're gonna hear things that we don't completely know of, huh? To make money that is disgusting. So in the temple of Venus, they were making priestesses sell their souls to make money for the despicable masters. So masters again over them. There were constant importations of new girls from Lesbos and the other Grecian isles. Then, as now, the devices of the white slave trader were assiduously employed to keep up and increase the number of profitable European and Asiatic girls. It is pastime as well as business to these traffickers to drug, to make drunken, to deceive, to ensnare, or to debauch by force the innocent, the confiding, the thoughtless of the weak, whether for the ancient temple of Venus at Corinth. Let me look up pictures on that. I gotta see that. Or for the dens of shame in the white slave market of Chicago or Paris. Beautiful victims who will earn much money for their masters and captors must be hunted and tracked. At Athens, the lawgiver Solon established houses of shame by statute and filled them with slave girls for whom there was no possible escape. But whoever man or woman caused a freeborn Athenian girl to enter one of the houses incurred the penalty of death. It might be well if freeborn American girls were as thoroughly protected. An Athenian forfeited their citizenship on opening a house of shame. Good, so there was some kind of like people were not fully letting them. American citizenship in our large cities allows the white slave traders an astounding amount of political influence. So they're saying they should be also not become citizens anymore if they're doing this to people, to children and women and young boys. Okay, so let me look up Venus at Corinth really quick. And before I do that, I do have to use the restroom. I drink a lot of water. 1 second, I know we're live, but I can't hold it. I'll be right back. Back. Ooh. Tea always gets you. All right. So, where are we? I know, guys, I cut my hair. All right, so here we go. Here we go. It's cold over here in Chicago. And by the way, the snow is not melting. With the sun blazing on it, we know that something's happening there, weather modification. All right, where were we? So, you guys see how important these videos are? Oh my God, are the most important, especially after seeing what's happening in South Africa. Oh my God, you all. So let's see here. Next one here is where did we get to? So we're on. Oh, I was going to show you the Venus of Corinth. Whew. What does that look like? Temple of Venus of Corinth. Okay, so this is what he just referenced of what was happening there. Oh God. What the heck, you all? You see that? Okay, let's change it to another image. That is disgusting. So they took the priestesses from Greece and they did that to them. Again, things that happened after the fall of Atlantis and the A.U.R.A virus. Okay, sending love to that area. If you've been there, sending some Phoenix fire and love light and Mother Earth to heal herself for that. And Goddess Venus, who means love, and all these beauties of the divine feminine, to violate her temple with women being violated. I mean, dark sorcery at its very apparent, actively there. All right, what else do we have here? Okay, next one here is, let me show you guys the videos here. Okay, it's looking good. All right, keep reading. Okay, so then we got Rome, which we know Rome is the real bad guys back then, who then invaded Greece and took over. And then in Rome, immoral women were enrolled by the police in a public register. In this public record of their evil, life always remained to bar their way to repentance and respectability. Modern European cities on the continent follow this hurtful custom, and it has been introduced without authority of law in some American cities. Many bakers, barbers, and keepers of taverns, baths, and drugstores were also traders in women. Wow. That makes sense. Sometimes you go into these places, you're like, ooh, something dark happening here. So many entities in those buildings. These depraved traffickers were regarded with the greatest loathing by Roman people. The white slave traders of ancient Rome probably differed little from the Italian traders to be found in so many parts of the world today, notably the New York and Chicago. The poet Milton tells how his love of purity kept him in his youth from the evils practiced at bordellos, presumably an Italian resort in London. Wow. Persons desiring to know the traders boasting over a young and beautiful girl who had come into his devilish power will find it described in the Old English play commonly attributed by Shakespeare called Paracelsus, Prince of Terror. An exceedingly bad example was set by some of the Roman emperors. Augustus, even in his old age, sent out men to bring him women. I believe that. And girls, the beautiful Melonia stabbed herself rather than yield to the Emperor Tiberius. The Emperor Marcus Aurelius Antonius, who was very victorious and religious and wise according to Roman idols, persecuted Christians to the extent of legally condemning Christian girls to the houses of infamy. Young women were seized and required to sacrifice to idols. Upon refusing, they were dragged through the streets and given to a white slaver. Some beautiful legends have been preserved which tell of miraculous deliverance of Christian girls from the most satanic cruelty. Saint Agnes, the story runs, very seized and stripped, but immediately her hair grew quickly and covered her like a garment. Dragged to a den of shame, she appeared transfigured, a wonderful light shining from her body, and no one dared to harm her. Wow. Must have been a divine mother essence there. She was Saint Agnes. Make a note. We got to look into that. Send me a link on that, or a short video or something. Who's Saint Agnes? Add it to the doc at the top. At length, one bold ruffian came near her, but was struck dead at her feet by a thunderbolt. Wow, sounds like she was in her abilities there. The Emperor Diocletian renewed these terrible persecutions. The church's old relation was the rescue of depraved woman. Mary, an Egyptian, was a conspicuous penitent who sailed for Jerusalem and spent her remaining years virtuously in the Holy Land. Is he talking about Mother Mary? The Christian Emperor Theodosius II, who died in the year 450, laid heavy penalties on traffickers in women. Well, Mother Mary was Egyptian, I guess you could say. But, I mean, she was in Jerusalem area near Egypt. And then, she was really Essenes, but yeah. Justinian, who came in the throne in 1527, punished procurers with death. He was merciful toward erring women, but was unsparing toward everyone who exploited them for gain. Let me see if we have found out any information about Saint Agnes, which we talked about. A lot of these saints were like giant women, especially when you go to museums. They have like saint statues and saint like paintings, and they're like 3 times, 4 times smaller than the regular humans, which tells us that they were giants. Okay. And then check here. Okay, Saint Agnes. Saint Agnes was born was born in 291 into Roman nobility and raised as a Christian. She suffered martyrdom. I can't say the word martyrdom. Some of these words, guys, that I can't say is because they're so inverted. The English language is so inverted, so I do my best. Martyrdom on 21 January 304, aged 12 to 13, her high-ranking suitors, slighted by her resolute devotion to religious purity, sought to persecute her for her beliefs. Her father urged her to deny God, but she refused, and she was dragged naked through the streets to a brothel, then tried to sentence to death. She was eventually beheaded after attempts of her to be burnt at the stake and failed. Yeah. A true holy being cannot be burned. Instead, they become one with the fire. Because fire is source, not witches. Fire is the flame of God. Source, love, light. So she was eventually beheaded because they couldn't burn her. A few days after her death, her foster sister Emerentiana was found praying by her tomb and was stoned to death. Sending love to her sister. An early account of Agnes stressing her young age, steadfastness, and virginity was written by the 4th century theologian Saint Ambrose. Since the Middle Ages, she was traditionally been depicted as a young girl with her long hair, with a lamb. That's right. I did a reading where someone was connected to this Saint Agnes. That's right. The symbol of the virginal innocence at her name, a sword and a palm branch, an attribute of her martyrdom. I got the word martyrdom. Her bones are beneath the high altar of the church built over the tomb in Rome. Her skull is preserved in the Church of Saint Agnes in Agon, Rome. Pictures, probably. Thank you, Gina. That's right. I know who she is. Yeah, that's her. And apparently they couldn't violate her and remove her virginity because they were scared shootless out of her. Because they were being struck down by lightning, and she was glowing with light, which means that she was not a vibratory match to their tried rape, that they couldn't violate her. Wow, beautiful. And this is why we've covered so much of the rising of the woman, you all. Look at how much they've been violated. This is why the women can't trust the men, and a lot of them have turned gay. They can only trust each other. We gotta heal these bonds with the females and the males, these broken bonds. Thank you. Okay, so that's who they were talking about. Good information here that they've written. So we're looking to go another 20-30 minutes. We'll see how far we go, guys. Okay. So that was that. France. The Latin writers conspicuously Tacitus represent the Germans, Franks, and Gauls. Did I read all this? Hold on. Forgot where I was at. Yeah, we did. Okay. Germanus and Franks and Gauls as very victorious and very severe in their punishment of offenders. The earliest known legislation in the northern kingdoms is in the Capitularies of Charlemagne, who was crowned emperor of the Holy Roman Empire by the Pope in St. Peter's at Rome on Christmas Day in the year 800. They had Christmas back in 800. Early in his reign, we know that this is all rooted to why we needed to cover this before we go into the 133 years of Yeshua, because he was factually here in the 1500s. When you look at every painting, at every map, he was here, and then crucified in 1633. Watch, Yeshua just walked the earth, then grandmother channeling grandmother Anna, and then Mother Mary. Those three videos who have began that series there. So you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the earliest known legislation of the northern kingdoms is in the Capitularies of Charlemagne, who was crowned the emperor of Holy Roman Empire by the Pope in St. Peter's at Rome on Christmas Day in the year 1800. Early in his reign, in his northern dominions, Charlemagne enacted that all who kept houses of shame or lent, that's what they were called them, huh? Houses of shame, or lent their aid to vice were to be scourged. He would spare neither bad woman nor vile men. But succeeding kings of France, very many of them were themselves nobles, not of virtue and kingliness, but of dishonor and debauch. So I mean, we got, okay, so sounds like a positive as possible there. King of France, Charlemagne, that was talking about not being okay. These houses of shame. Many of the clergy also were very immoral, and the whole nation became corrupt. Louis 1x, don't know what the number that is, made the first earnest effort to check the evil. He issued an extreme edict in, it says 12, it's an I though, not one. So we know about Tartaria. What is it? It's an I, it's a J, or is it a 1? It's not a 1. Because then you want to watch The Last American, guys, which that series is going to wow you. Seriously. So that series, it tells you about the 1,000 years missing and what happened there. Watch that, guys, and get ready for a show. Make sure you have your popcorn out. I think it was 4 episodes of that. After, so yeah. So 254 or 1254, that all immoral women and all keepers and procurers should be at once exiled from France. That's good, you all. So look at that, the fight. Good. They were fighting in France, and now we know that the Pope and the Macron and all that kind of stuff is happening there. But they fought it. After a reaction, Louis renewed his efforts to extirpate the iniquity, and his son Philip continued to inflict severe penalties. During the 13th and 14th centuries, several notorious procurers were burnt alive at Paris. In the 16th century, wow, sending love to that time, they were fighting against violations to children. In the 16th century, in the cities of South France, sometimes a woman of this detestable class was thrust in an iron cage and thrown into the river. I don't know about that, but I don't align with that. When almost dead from drowning, she was drowned out, and after a little, the punishment was repeated. Many of the women who were burnt as witches were really condemned because they were procurers of otherwise odiously immoral. The rise of chivalry greatly increased the safety of good women and diminished immorality among men. A high moral tone was imparted to society everywhere. Faithful preachers cried out against the traffic in shame, the snaring of young girls, and the immodesty of immorality, which were found in convents and in churches. In the reign of Louis X1, about 1475, Father Millard, a bold preacher of the time, excoriated the whole company of traffickers in girls, especially procurers and citizens who let their property for houses of shame. The procurers, he said, ought to be burned at the stake. There we go. We got one Father Millard was a positive guy there. They must burn at the stake. I don't know about burning and hurting people, but at least they don't want to do this to women and children. And for women who corrupted the clergy, he had no mercy, but invoked in the wrath of God upon them. Louis X1 was himself extremely immoral, like so many of the kings. Okay, so he was immoral or he wasn't? No, that was the other guy. And Louis is immoral, okay? Like so many of the kings of France. Wait, let's see, good or bad? Catherine de Medicis, who became Queen of France when her husband Henry II ascended the throne in 1547, exercised a baneful influence during 3 reigns. Her court of 200 ladies introduced from Italy worse vices than before been known in France. She did, however, try to diminish prostitution in Paris. Good. An ordinance of 1635 condemned all men engaged in what we now call the white slave trade to the galleys for life. Louis XV, a 15 years of age, married Maria, daughter of Stanislas, the throned king of Poland. The whole life of Louis was one of idle sensuality. When he was old, he established a seraglio of 15-year-old girls, the most beautiful that could be bought or kidnapped. Okay, so that guy was a bad guy. On the harem, he spent 100 million francs or $20 million. It was he who, when warned of the impending ruin of his nation, said, "After me in the Loge, he died detested by all," in 1774. So, okay, so that begins when, looks like that year where he was, this guy, Louis XV, who was started to distort then officially France there. So there's a dark curse there needing to be removed. Let me see where you guys have questions and comments so far, because there's so much here. We still need to mention what I need to mention of Asia at the end. Okay, powerful energy, you are. Whew. So let's see, questions, comments so far. Okay, someone said, do you believe Saint Joan of Arc was burnt? Either no, she wasn't burnt. I've had several Joan of Arcs have, like, quite a few people on Earth have Joan of Arc fractals in them, and every time they are guided by Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Michael and Metatron, but she talks directly to Gabriel, and she is also a giant. She was known to be tall. That's why they couldn't take her down. You know, she's not a regular sized woman, and she could not be burnt, of course, because she was another saint, and she was vibrating to such high love light that she'd be like, "What? You're bathing me with fire? Oh man, I feel good. Thank you for recharging my source, love light." So yeah, I try to be funny, but this video is so hard to be funny, y'all. Yeah, she wasn't burned either. That's why they like factually try to kill her several times, guys, and she wouldn't die. Another Joan of Arc, and not because she was Skinwalker, just because she was like that positive. The crazy monk was the Skinwalker, as you know. Okay. That killed the Romanov family. Where are we here? Comments. Okay. Someone said the Vadasi system of the female sex slaves in India still exists in the India today. They said it was first recorded in 6th century AD in India, where women were trained to perform rituals to the temples. Then it became sexual exploitation until Islamic rulers came to India. About temple in Corinth. It sounds familiar to India. The women were considered goddesses in the temple. Then, I mean, if I go down that route, guys, we're going to be there a while. So they're basically soul binding the divine feminine energy, the sacral chakra of these Indian females, young ladies, to the temples. The deities are positive, like, you know, Vishnu, and I don't know all the names, but Shiva, goodness, he's divine father, like these beautiful beings were positive back then in Tartarian times, right? Like they had their floating temples and they could fly and stuff, right? Or that was all positivity. So then the temples, they use them invertedly to violate the females. And then there's not the deities that they're feeding their demons, their inverted jinns, their dark AI demon entities. Okay. Yeah, next one. Medici is a dark name out of Italy. Can you explain that further? Yeah, I'll come back to that. Okay. All right. Keep going here. Yeah. All right. Back to the questions. Back to the book. We'll read probably another 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go into what I gotta finish up this video with. All right. Paris, the modern Babylon. Paris, the capital of such kings and the scene of such debauchery, became the source. By the way, I did channel Goddess Ishtar, so you can find out the positive ring when she was there and how she started to positive polarize it. Just like you're seeing, you know, like the Trump administration, Robert Kennedy saving the children from all the craziness and helping us eat good food and water. Yeah, so that kind of thing happened then by Goddess Ishtar. So, all right, so Paris, the capital of such kings and the scene of such debauchery, became the source and headquarters of the worldwide white slave trade of the present time. With the spread of legitimate commerce to every part of the world, the long experienced traders and women saw a worldwide market for girls. There is not a civilized country which has not been exploited by the traders. You hear that? Boy, did they lie to us about slaves. So not one legitimate commerce. Every part of the world, they've experienced this. Worldwide market for girls. There is not a civilized country which has not been exploited by the traders, alike as a hunting ground for victims. and as a market in which to sell them. All Europe, North America, Panama, South America, Egypt, and other parts of Africa, India, China, and Japan are fields of operation of these atrocious men and serpentine women. Serpentine. We could call them succubus. They feed off the rape and lust and sexual over-sexualization. Succubus. Females. They're really just controlled by demons. All right. By no means all the traffickers are French. Many are Jews, many are Italians and Sicilians. Some are Austrians, Germans, English, Americans, Greeks, but it is Paris that has made vice a fine art and has made the white slave trade a widespread, systematic, commercial enterprise. No. And that's where you start seeing A.U.R.A. Candace Owens. Again, I don't align with everything that she says, but she is pretty bad A, I think. I do align with a lot. And yes, Macrons. And yes, with the Macrons, he was a young man. And yes, guys, his wife is a man. And is, but we already know this. Is his groomer and captive since he was a child. All right. All right, next one. Keep reading the book here. Okay. In recent years, the French government and people have felt keenly the reproach of this condition and have been foremost in efforts to suppress the abominable commerce. White slaves in India. In 1893, during my missionary service in India, a clique of white slave traders was discovered in Calcutta. They were found to be trafficking not only in European girls whom they could lure to India. Seems like you all the white young ladies have been the prized possession. You didn't know that, huh? To slave trade. Man. All right. So European girls whom they could lure to India, but also in little native girls, as young as 9 girls, which we already know about native girls too. There were great indignation in the capital and throughout India when these criminals were exposed and arrested. But Indian like India. The laws of India were at the time inadequate to punish them, but an old statute was found under which the viceroy could deport undesirable aliens. So these wretches, too abominable to be endured in heathendom, were shipped back to Europe. Those were the first white slave traders of whom I, a young missionary, had ever heard. Last year in Chicago, a French trader told me that he had been in India, and I could not but wonder whether he had been deported from Calcutta or Bombay or made welcome in Chicago. The United States government soon afterward put him out of his wicked business. Reverend Dr. Homer C. Stuntz, formerly of Calcutta, now of New York, told me of a frightened European girl who nervously rang his doorbell in Calcutta late at night. She had been deceived into going to India by false promises made to her by the hunters of girls. Learning their real purpose just in time, she fled from them and inquiring the way to a missionary. Wow. We're going to finish it off here. She was directed to Dr. and then go into Asia, and directed to Dr. and Mrs. Stunts, with whom was safe and thankful a million times. How many hundreds and innocent American and European girls have been led away to heathen and Mohammedan lands on false promises of God positions. Muhammadua was the Archon, was Merlin, was a skinwalker. He wrote, you know what, himself. Their Bible as teachers, governess, or even as missionaries. Only the open books of the day of judgment will disclose. Whew, guys. Oh my goodness. We're on page 29. And we're going to continue on this next time. We'll see where we start off February 27, whether we continue this series or we start with Yesha, or we also have the World's Fair series going on too. So many, you all. Thank you for being here to support this video and all that I do. Go to Patreon to support this. Go to my AuraPractitioners.com, come book a session, buy a book. As you know, I am self-funded and I love you, honor you, and respect you, every bit of you. Thank you for your support throughout the years. So the next one's going to be the suppression of the white slave traffic. Okay. Traffic, London, England. You guys could check out this book on your own, but it's pretty awesome when I share it, right? Because we go deep into what we're understanding here. So now what I want to share, let me see if you have questions, comments, so before I share what I need of Asia. Okay, no more new questions, comments. No, nothing else was added for either one. All right. Now we're going to go into, I want to go a little bit into Asia, because you're going to watch a series of Asia. Do watch it. Help with that within Love Light. Okay. Let's just look at something very simple right now. Let me close all these tabs. Hold on. Too many. Open. Questions, comments, write them now before we finish up. Thank you to the current streaming now at 188, but we know there's more. Thank you for that. Okay, got that. Close that. We're good. Okay, so here we are. Share this video here. Okay, something is happening in China. We know that. Something happened. What happened? Why? Look at this, you all. The facts on the China wall, but it's not. It's Tartarian wall.
You know, the Great Wall of China is over 13,000 miles long. That number is almost never talked about. To put it in perspective, from the east coast to the west coast of the United States is roughly 3,000 miles. You'd have to cross America more than...
Okay. Crossing from is 3,000 miles, guys. I mean, I one time drove all the way to California, and it was supposed to take me
3,000 miles.
Supposed to take me 36 hours to drive, you all. And I mean, it took me longer. Goodness, but it was a beautiful ride. So think about that for a minute. So just from Chicago to California, 36 hours. Think of that's 3,000 miles, though, from all the way from the east to the west, right? South, east, west, south, or west, east, east, west. It's 4 times that plus an extra 1,000 miles, guys. The Tartaria wall, supposedly built by men. There's no way. This was definitely built by some kind of alchemy, probably some kind of cement technology that they had, like a printer, like a digital printer, but a cement printer, and some giants. And yeah, that could only explain 13,000. And 13,000, the powerful number of 13. Wow.
America more than 4 times and add another 1,000 miles to match the length of the Great Wall of China. That scale alone raises a serious question. Why would any civilization commit that much time, labor, and resources to build something so massive? Construction began around 220 BC.
Stop that. But okay, so we're going to discover what's really happening in Asia. Why did the Tartarians build this wall? For those of you who have been watching my Antarctica Tartaria series, you know what I'm talking about. Why did they build such a gigantic wall that is facing China? Get ready. We're going to discover that in the next month. And what else can I show you here? As we reference some of these dynasties in the China series, quick little video so you could be informed on the history of China.
Claims to be the real China, with the other being illegitimate. Here are 5 differences between the two. But first, why are there 2 different Chinas in the first place? In 1949, the Chinese Communist Party overthrew the Nationalist Party after a long civil war. The Nationalist Party fled to Taiwan, an island 100 miles off the coast of the mainland, setting up their own government.
Okay, so basically what this means is that China, right, they took over, and that's right after Germany was taken over. And then who was left over? Who survived from China went over to Taiwan. Those are the survivors, the ones that said, hey, no, we're not going to become communists. Okay? So that's really positive that those people were able to survive and keep the original roots of China alive. Okay. All right, keep watching.
What we commonly call China today is officially the People's Republic of China, formed in 1949, while Taiwan is officially known as the Republic of China. China has the 2nd largest population in the world, with 1.4 billion people. Taiwan has a considerably smaller population of 23 million people.
See that? So that is who has borderline survived from 1949, 23 million of those people, but a lot of people did not survive. They weren't able to escape. So I know like practitioners who their parents, who are Chinese descendants, and their grandparents did not reform, and they fought it. They fought it off, and they got killed because they wouldn't become communists, and they weren't able to escape. So you don't know about these things, the famine that happened there, and then that starvation and just really horrific things that happened to China. And I think that's why Divine Mother has asked us to have a series, of course, of all of Asia, Japan, China, and what are the entities, guys? This is so important. The entities that infringe on these lands. If you haven't watched an A.U.R.A, Hypnosis, Past Life Regression yet, let's go, you all. Watch them in February. Okay? So keep listening to him.
China is a one-party socialist state led by Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China, while Taiwan is a multi-party democracy currently led by Lei Ching-te. Both countries are manufacturing powerhouses with strong economies. China has the 2nd largest economy in the world, while Taiwan are the world's largest manufacturer of semiconductors. The People's Republic of China operates under a one China policy, meaning that they sever any international ties with any nation that officially recognizes Taiwan. This means that Taiwan is officially...
Oh, talk about dictators, and we know about the communists there. So if you align with Taiwan, you're not their friend. Wow, that's crappy. And so Taiwan, wow, sending love to Taiwan. They're really being sacrificed. What is the word? Says oppressed, or not oppressed, but targeted. Only recognized by 12 other countries. Who are those 12 countries? Gina, right at the top. Who does recognize Taiwan? You guys are nice if you do. Thank you. Keep going.
Officially recognized by only 12 nations. Both China and Taiwan claims to be...
Okay, next video. Something we did not know. we'll come back to more of that. And just got 2 more videos for you guys, and then we'll finish it up. Again, just preparing you guys. Here we go. So this is a video on communism. Okay, so we got Cuba, Russia, and China, who are communists. Of course they are. All right, listen to them. 3 beautiful women.
Communism was in Cuba, in China, and in Russia or USSR. State-controlled economies. So in Cuba, the economy is controlled by the state. Nowadays, you are allowed to have businesses, but the taxes are so high, and you have to pay a percentage back to the state. And at the end of the day, it's not really your business. It's always going to be a state-owned business.
Communist China is still the same, is controlled by the state, and any private entity that comes into the country and wants to establish as a business, the state has to have a 51% ownership, even though the state has not put any money into it. But
51% of business owners in China has to give it to the government. That is insane. And so similar to what she's saying here, they give it all. They don't even, since this was so beautiful about Trump, is that he's a business owner. He's teaching us that we need to be our own entrepreneurs and own, business owners. And this is being encouraged, and he thrives on seeing people flourish and blossom, and families. It's so beautiful, you all. So this is an example for you of what it is like if you try to rise up and be your own business owner in whatever way that is, or just be an entrepreneur. You can't do that in these countries, completely oppressed. So at that point, we know that these are absolutely inverted.
they still control the outcome and the input on it.
Yeah, so the government was controlling every business. I don't think people were allowed to have any businesses. Everything was government. People didn't have anything. They didn't own anything. They were so similar. Political opposition.
So in Russia period, they can't have any, she says. They don't have any. She doesn't even know about that.
So in Cuba, political opposition was not tolerated. So you cannot talk bad about the government. You cannot go out there and riot. You're not supposed to do that. People have sometimes done that and they end up in jail. How about in China?
What is the political opposition? That doesn't exist in China. There's simply none.
What happens if you do decide to...
You mysteriously disappear.
How about in USSR?
Here you cannot, they take your phone, they can, spying on you. You cannot say anything.
Wait a minute, Russia does this? I thought you guys said Vladimir Putin was positive. Not you guys, because you guys know, I've been telling you, he's... Oh, I almost said who he was. I'm sure you figured it out. Not a good guy. Okay, so they do the same thing in Russia, you all. Stop feeding these negative agendas claiming that he's positive.
In Cuba, they used to open up the mail as well. Yeah. So whenever you receive mail from the US, they would open it up and then seal it back. Did you guys see
the same?
Okay.
The same.
All right. How about surveillance? So in Cuba, we have something called CDR, which basically it's one person that is basically like a spy, like a snitch that tells the government whenever someone is doing something that seems a little shady or a little anti-communist. And
that was the main thing for China as well. Okay. But now with technology, they have the face recognition surveillance camera all over the street in China, mainly in the mainland China. Not sure so much about Hong Kong yet, but that's what we're seeing.
Right, and some people cover their faces sometimes because they don't want to be...
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how communism was...
And there it is, you all. So, I mean, it'd be incredible. The Fire Horse, the Phoenix unicorns are here, and their energy is magical. Let us hold the love without overstepping boundaries, without harming none, and hold the space for humanity to get rid of communism. I need to look into how Chile removed themselves from communism. I haven't been able to do that. Perhaps in the future, I'll figure that out for you all guys. But I mean, it is possible. Gotta keep letting these people be free. I can't even imagine how oppressive that is to us. Americans, females and males, are like, what? Like, what is this stuff? This is ridiculous. I mean, the rules that they have for them. In China, plain and simple, I mean, there is no questioning the government, as you heard the Chinese say. This is crazy. because otherwise you'd be classified in the future like Nazis were, patronism, and because you love your country and your land. So yes, that is it. That is it, actually. That's it. All right, you all, questions, comments? Let me see what you got, and we're finishing up for today. There was a question I had asked Gina earlier. Let me see if that's written. Okay, so that's for, so as of now, 13 countries officially recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state. These countries are Belize, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Marshall Islands, Nauru, Palau, Paraguay, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Grenadines, and Tuvalu, and the Vatican City. Okay, confused about the Vatican City, but yeah. Okay, well, that's good. All right, questions, comments? Someone said, is that why so many Chinese have businesses in other countries? Sounds like it, you all. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think a lot of their money too, yeah, is not in China. It's genius, I guess, because they have to give it to the government. And why also Chinese people, because I know, again, Chinese clients, they live in a lack of. They live in a constant that they don't have enough money because their government is taking it from them. No. They're holding this like dark collective lack of abundance, even though they can have tons of money sometimes, and they still think that they don't. It's a dark kind of, control and target to create lack of, and which slavery, mine, is all about that, is a lack of. See what other questions we have here. Those are comments. Someone said, the Medici family was a powerful Italian banking family, thank you, from 1434 and 1737. They spoke about it right in the book. The family produced 4 popes and 2 queens of France, significantly shaping European history. Okay. The next one is the Kuomintang moved to Taiwan. Political party, they ruled China until 1949, then moved back to Taiwan. Okay, thank you. Next one. So that's the real reason why they wear masks in China, to hide the spy tech. Oh, genius. But. Next one. Also, North Korea, they make neighbors and family members spy on each other and report to the communist government. That is horrible. Turning, your own neighbors and the own people you supposedly love against each other. Oh, that is darkest of the darkest. Okay. All right, sending love, Phoenix Fire, love, light, anything that we could assist, source of light, without overstepping boundaries, without harming none, as the creator, God, love, allows. And thank you, you all. Thank you. Your higher selves are very powerfully here with you, having you listen to this. You are assisting with your beautiful hearts and love. Thank you. Without overstepping boundaries, without harming none. All right, you all. Drop the mic. Boop. All right, let's go. And we have, keep an eye out for that series. I'm so happy I'm going to be caught up because I have like 15 AU.R.A sessions, which is a lot, waiting to be shared. And but we'll be airing officially about 6 or 7 though, out of those. Here we go. Let's finish it off with the song, which is called Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. And this is all, I'm only sharing this in love light. It's by Salt of the Sound, Hymns for Morning Tide. And I think it just really embodies a lot of Yeshua energy. Praise to the Lord. up, guys. Hit thumbs up, subscribe now. Again, to support this video and all that I do, go to my website, risingphoenixaurora.com, book a session, sign up to our retreats, our workshops, go to Patreon, and sign up to any of our memberships, monthly memberships, sign up to our newsletter to keep informed of everything we have going on, daily, weekly, monthly. You are badass to be able to have hung in this long to this video. I love you, honor you, and respect you. Thank you. You are so adored by myself. Everything I do is for love. I am raw love. I'm not here to fight these Archon AI battles. I'm here to end them. That we are, you all. Do not allow yourself to be pulled into Archon matrix simulations that trick you, artificial wounds that are powered up by these black suns that perhaps will explain in the future. Pull yourself out from these black artificial suns. Pull yourself back into the sun, the real Father's Sun, who is illuminating and recharging your essence, who guides you so that you may be guided by your heart and not by your ego. Heal those traumas so that you don't operate by ego anymore. Come on over here to the world of organic crystalline blueprint, to the vibrating to the 5D and above. There's a playlist on the bifurcation to understand what I'm speaking about. There's a choosing of where do you want to vibrate to, an AI artificial world where there's harm and slavery like this, or a world where there is love, light, and we honor and love and respect each other as souls that we are, infinite souls created from Creator, Divine Mother and Father. Step into your power, be the love light that you were created from, and spread it everywhere you can. I love you, honor you, respect you. You are the Yeshua and the Mother Mary and the Mary Magdalene's walking out earth. Let us be the seeds and the souls that set that example for us, and all beautiful souls, whether they were positive government or positive division or spiritual figures. We love you. Thank you for walking the path before us and leaving those magical illuminated blueprints, footprints behind for us to step upon so that we may be reminded of who we are and what we were created from of love. Thank you. I love you, honor you, and respect you. I am AuroRa, spiritual revolutionist that I am, and I am raw love. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you. I love you with all that I am.